What's up everybody? Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish, and it's time for another bunny leech. This time we're going to be doing an egg sucking bunny leech with a little something extra. So grab your stuff, let's tie some flies. Alright everybody, in the vise today we've got the Ahrex SA254. This happens to be a size 2. And for the bead, Spawn football bead peach, 7.5 millimeter. As you can see, that thing wants to spin and go willy-nilly, so let's fix that. Got some non-lead weighted wire, 0.020, and we're just going to get about 10 wraps on there. And all we have to do now, get our designated wire cutting scissor and trim out the front there. Roll that over, smooth it out if you will. No severe cut edge, and then simply push that into the back of the bead. And if you see there, that little move lets me get around one wrap, and that's all it takes. That's not moving. And again, the beefy part of that bead on the outside of the shank so that it rides this hook keeled point up. Now we can trim out that rear section of weighted wire and do the same thing. We'll just round it over where we cut it. Alright, let's get some thread going. Today got some Veevus fluorescent orange, 140, strong, strong, strong. That's what we need. We're tying fleshy flies for coho, and these things are going to get destroyed. So a little word to the wise, tie them as strongly as you can, and you'll cry a little bit less because they're not going to break apart on you as quickly. So let's get some wraps over those weighted wires, and then let's work our way back to the last section of flat shank there. And I'm going to come up just a little bit. Alright, first step here, we've got some Magnum rabbit, and this is Spawn fluorescent peach, sold by Hareline. And as far as a length of tail here, the leather, as you see, I've got it prepared for a tie-in spot there. Trimmed it out, got the leather even trimmed at an angle so it's a little easier to tie in. But where the fur starts, or the hair starts on the leather, from that section back, the leather is one shank length, and that's the proper length for a rabbit tail. Now, this is going to be riding hook point up, so I could pierce this on the hook and all that good stuff. But truth is, if I just go like this, line those hairs up with that last thread wrap that I laid down as a little indicator for myself, a little X wrap to start, and then really crank this thing down. If I do this, that rabbit's not coming out. And if you're worried about it, a little super glue underneath there is fine too. And as you can see, this has got a lot of grab area on that leather, which is really going to allow me a secure tie-in. So I have no concern whatsoever of that tail coming out. Alright, pretty simple so far. So now we need some body. And of course I'm going to match this up because I love fleshy looking flies for this fishery. So we've got peach in the Crosscut. This is Spawn's fluorescent peach again. However, I want a little something something added to it. So here we've got some polar chenille in Claret. And so if you see, this stuff kind of wants to come off of one side, much like rabbit does. And if you remember, looking at your left hand, when you put that leather into your hand like so, the fibers should go toward the thumb. And if they do, well then all we have to do is put the good side down and tie it in. So let's do that right now. And as you can see, once again, a little trimmed area just to make a clean tie-in. So I've got my body wrapped in, or tied in, and ready to wrap. But before we do that, we're gonna wrap simultaneously our rabbit with our polar chenille. And so I'm going to do is start this so that the fibers, at least for the beginning portion of this, go the same direction as the rabbit fibers. And we'll have to do some finagling here as we start wrapping, but once it starts, it's pretty easy to keep up with it. Alright, so one thing I want to mention, we're going to be adding an egg. This is going to be an egg sucking flesh leech. We're gonna add an egg here behind the bead, so we're not gonna take this rabbit all the way to snug right behind the bead. We'll leave a wrap or so undone so we have some space to work in. Alright, so now all I'm gonna do is line up the core of that polar chenille with the leather on the rabbit strip. And of course, I do have some water here on my desk. Let me just move it so I can get to it, and I'll show you why I have it here. Once I get my fingertips wet and just kind of coax the chenille or the polar chenille with the rabbit, it's going to tend to want to grab a little bit and stay, and that's what I'm looking for. So now I'll just take my time, and in touching wraps, I want to wrap both the polar chenille and the rabbit at the same time. And in the water, what happens is this stuff is going to show through as though it's bleeding or the flesh is sort of rotting, and that is exactly the look or effect we're going for. So now remember to keep that little extra space for yourself right there. So let me turn this fly over, so I'm going to finish it right like this and show you guys that clean V spot we're always talking about. Pull some of this hair away from the leather right there, and once it's wet, this separation becomes much easier. There we go. So now I've got a clean V, if you will, and all I'm going to do now is run that thread right into that V that I've created. Catch it, 2, 3, 4 wraps, that's all it takes, and this thing's solidified. And 4 is the magic number right there. Get a couple of thread wraps in front, and now I can safely trim out both the rabbit and polar chenille. Looking pretty yummy already. Alright, turn this guy back up the right way here, or the wrong way, but easier to tie on. And now really wrap down where we finished that rabbit. Alright, now for this wonderful egg, we happen to have some UV2 row yarn, and this is fluorescent orange. And as you can see, it's like on any other chenille, but trim just a little bit of material out of there, give myself a little cleaner tie-in. And there we go. Get that thread in front, and now, just like any other chenille, just start wrapping. Pretty easy. This stuff is fun to work with. It looks like an egg that's been in the water for a minute, and that's okay. We want this thing just nasty and full and everything else. And let's tie that off. So you can see how quickly that couple wraps just eats up all that space. Thread in front again, and now I can safely trim this out. It's a little tough to see. If this unruly egg mass bothers you, by all means get in there and trim it up a little bit, make it as cute as you want. I happen to like this half exploded look to it, so I'm just going to go with it and finish this guy. Couple of whip finishes here, and it's time to go fishing. I don't know how many of you are going to be fishing for salmon this season, but if you look at the weather forecast, locally we're looking for a big bump of rain on Saturday, which means by Sunday a lot of fish should be pushed into our rivers. So if you try to call Sunday, 1, we're closed, 2, we're fishing. Alright, looking pretty yummy right there. So you can see how those polar chenille fibers are going to show through, but let's get some head cement on this guy and call it good. So let me just coax some in here, and again I'm using the back side of that bead to help guide my bodkin down to the thread versus going right for the thread, and then I would of course get a bunch of head cement into that row yarn, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So use the back of the bead, it'll guide you. Alright, make sure you get that nice and coated all the way around there, and there you have it, egg sucking bunny leech, just with a little something extra in the polar chenille fibers wrapped with the body. And if you guys want, we could even take this out here for a second. I'll dip it in some water and I'll be right back. have it. It looks pretty yummy to me, and I'm not even a fish. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Tie a bunch of these. They're very effective. As always, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we will see you guys on the water.